Welcome back to another episode, 3 Uncool Cats. Happy Monday. Well, it's going to be Monday when you watch this. Of course, Bob's in the house, Alan's in the house,
Yep.
Your faithful host, Andrew's in the house. Today we're doing Blues Traveler 4, which could have easily been my pick. We'll get into that later, but
Yep,
Bob chose to
yeah.
bring this to the table, so I'll let him take it from here.
Well, ironically, my son is a subscriber. Thank you, Ryan. And anyway, he recommended.
On that note, let's all be like his son. Subscribe to the channel.
That's right.
He's a great guy.
Right. So let's do this right now. Right now. I saw this done on another podcast.
All right.
Right now, let's count it down. 1, 2, 3. Subscribe. Everybody who's watching and listening right now. 1, 2, 3. Subscribe.
See how easy that was?
Yeah.
One finger. You can use whatever finger you
Careful. Oh, my. Okay.
Sorry,
so,
Bob. Carry on.
So
right.
Blues Traveler.
Yes.
My son said that it was good traveling music, and
pun
that it was
intended.
that's right. Driving, I guess, is what he said, and that he liked listening to it because it was informal enough that it was relaxing, and he just loved it. He said with an oaky finish, whatever that means. I'm not sure. I don't know.
As in
I don't
Oak or Oklahoma.
Maybe,
maybe.
that's what it was. That's what it was. Okay, so anyway, we, as you know, by watching any other videos that we've done, we will listen to an album throughout the week, and then we come together here. We don't talk about our opinions about it prior to us meeting together around this table.
In fact, we don't really like each other until we get around this table.
No, we can't stand each other. He likes fishing. I like horses. I don't know what Alan likes. But anyway, we got this Blues Traveler album to listen to. And I'm going to be honest with you. It really intrigued me. I like it. I scored it with my scoring system.
Arcane scoring system.
Well, it's
arbitrary, arcane. There's many
very
words for
complicated.
The scoring system.
There's an equation that has to be going through, and I listen to every
And each
song.
album has its own equation.
Yeah,
by the
and
way.
Einstein said the
it
perfect
depends.
equation should be short. E equals MC squared, not Bob's equation.
Well, it takes a lot of consideration, speculation. It's an equation.
It's a bunch of Asians.
Yeah, could be. Hey,
We love Asians, by the way. We're big in Taiwan.
that's right.
We are. We got some.
All right.
We got listeners,
And we're
in
happy
Taiwan.
about
I
that.
guess we're taking a trip to Taiwan.
Hey.
We
Amen.
like them. Okay, so we get around and we kind of breeze through what each song had to offer us, whether we liked it, didn't like it, could take it or leave it. And I guess we start with, on this album, the album is called 4, and the number 4. And first song on the album is Run Around. And if you've been around very long, you've heard this song.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I've got to get my glasses on. Look at my notes. It's about frustration from a failing love situation, and the guy's telling her don't give him the runaround. So
Yeah.
I really liked the feel of the song. It actually gave me a beachy kind of feel.
Beachy? I never
Yes.
would have thought
It
beachy
did.
on this
It
one.
did. I think that's probably where I
Interesting.
heard it first, was at the beach.
Did you go to the beach this week?
Not this week, but I heard this song years and years and years ago.
Oh,
because
okay. All right.
This was what, in 96?
Yep.
No.
Or 94, sorry.
Loser.
I was going to
Sorry.
say,
I got them confused.
thought it was
Sorry.
before 95
I'm
because
fired.
these guys
This is why we don't like it.
I know.
were at
Just
the
one of the reasons.
Horde Festival, which is Horizons
Of rock developing
of rock
everywhere.
developing everywhere. Yep. And that was Horde 95. And ironically,
Yeah.
somebody that we've also analyzed
Yeah.
and put to shame is the Black Crowes.
Yeah, we did.
And they were there also,
Yes.
headlining for that show.
And another band we listened to, which we all liked, was Widespread, and they were on the originals when they first started doing that.
Really?
Too. The
So
original, it started with Blues Traveler, Spin Doctors, and Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Oh, love that band. Yeah.
And then Widespread got in there. After the Black Crowes, the Allman Brothers were the headliners on there a bunch of times.
Nice.
But we'll get into that. I got some stories about the
So
Lord
so
Tour.
we've got videos out already on Widespread Panic
Yeah.
and the Black Crowes.
Yeah.
So, and what we would do is recommend that you listen to these albums. When we go through them, at this point in our YouTube life, we're not playing a whole lot of the clips from the actual album, and we're just telling you our opinions and what we think of them.
And it's because we don't want to get copyrighted and
Yes.
they'll shut us down.
Right.
We don't know how to get around that. Some people are, and we don't.
If you know
understand.
how, put it in the comments,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Tell us, how do we listen to these clips and not get YouTube coming down on us like a bunch of Nazis?
Because we would really like everybody to listen to them with us.
Yes.
We can talk about segments of each song, and it makes it a whole lot easier
It
to
does. It's
know
more
what we're talking
immersive.
about.
Yeah.
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 So go ahead.
So anyway, I could go through song after song after song that I really liked, but I want to bring one to your attention that you may have heard called "Hook."
Yes.
You familiar with that song?
Slightly, yes.
Well, let me. Okay, you tell us about Hook.
Well, to me, it's a take on the music industry. One thing about this album that you may not... Let me back up a little bit. The reason in the intro that I said this could be my album, I spent most of my early 20s following Blues Traveler around.
Yeah.
I've seen him at
You
least...
traveled.
I have.
Okay.
I've probably seen him no less than 40 times, I would say, over the
Wow.
years.
And in your house, in your
Yep.
music room, you have your wife drew you an amazing picture of
Yes, she
Piper,
did. Yep.
right?
A popper,
A
yep.
popper, and then you have all your tickets.
Yep.
You have poster. You got everything.
He played in Syracuse University. He did a little solo tour, and after he was done, I got to meet him, and I have his autograph in my little montage that my wife made for me.
Yeah. Good.
So that's kind of where I started with this. To me, I'm that guy, unfortunately, when it comes to Blues Traveler. Like, Runaround and Hook is when they became popular, and I was listening to them way before
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because there were 3 other albums.
Hence the name for it.
That's
Good
right.
job.
Yeah.
And part of some of this, what they did with 4, the story is why there's a little more poppy songs on this. From Popper's interviews that I've seen, the band was kind of in dire straits, and the record company was like, listen, you need to, we love your music and all this, but we need a little more, of course, revenue coming in from your band.
Yeah.
So Popper went and does what he does and just writes terrific songs, and hence Runaround and Hook.
Yeah.
But the one cool thing that they always would do with Runaround is it'd usually be pretty early in their set, and once all those people left the building, then they'd get down to business and play the way they really played.
Because, Travelers and Thieves was the
That's
second
my
album that I
favorite
listened
album,
to.
yeah.
My first album was Blues Traveler.
Yeah, the first one.
Oh
yeah,
my
with
gosh,
But
dropping
Anyway,
dropping some NYC.
Yeah,
What a
yeah,
great
Mowing It
song.
Over's a
Yes,
great blues song.
love that album. So that got me to because you kind of come in on not always that first album.
Yep.
So I hit Blues Traveler first, and then Travelers and Thieves was first.
Yep.
And and I was like, man, these cats. There are a lot of Dungeons and Dragons
Yep.
style references in that first one, right? They're talking. I'm like, these are D&D dudes. I love
Travelers
them.
and Thieves has my my theme song. I have my moments now and again.
Yes, yes. So I loved it. I dug it, and I could see why maybe it wasn't
Yep.
that popular because of the material,
Yep.
not the playing, the material. So then when I go from there to Blues Traveler, I was like, oh, these dudes.
Yeah, and when you see them in concert, they're a lot like, if you've ever seen the Allman Brothers, well, they'll start with one song, they'll do 10 songs in between there, then go back to the first one. That's what Blues Traveler used to do in their shows. So like I say, when they play Runaround, they would leave.
Yeah.
And then all their core fans were in there.
Yeah.
And that's when they would just get down to business and
they just jam.
shred your
It's a
heart
jam
out.
band.
Yeah. So good. That's one of the bands that when you and I first met and we were just shooting the breeze and you said, "What about Blues Travelers?"
Yep.
Oh my God, this is my brother.
Yep.
We're twins. We're literally, not only do we look alike, but we're twins musically.
Do you play the harmonica?
I do not.
Oh.
And one thing I do have to say that I'm upset about, like I've seen him 40 times at least. At the end of every show, he'd throw harmonicas
Gives out
out.
harmonica.
I
yeah.
never once got. I saw him go over my head. I saw him go over here. I saw him go over here. But I did get his autograph, so I guess that's consolation. I guess.
Yeah, that dude can play. Man.
Yeah.
So
So
let me ask you, because Chris Robinson said he's a novelty act. Did you get that? That he's a novelty act?
I don't agree. I don't agree. I think they made it on their own merits.
Yep.
Yeah.
And see, I don't know if you ever heard of Bella Fleck.
Yeah.
And
The
the
Flecktones.
Flecktones.
Yeah.
They would when they first started, they had a harmonica player, Howard Levy.
Yeah.
And he would play a lot like Popper too, just that kind of shred style without the effects. Like Popper's got his effects and stuff.
He
Which
plays
adds to
through a
it.
guitar effects unit.
And it was cool because, and if you ever watch him, this is funny because he would have this vest on
Yes.
with
The
little
best.
pockets.
Yeah.
And
The
my brother
ammo.
my brother would say, "Was he have Snickers in there?" That was before he lost all his
Yeah.
weight.
Yeah.
But he'd sit there and just play and be going through all those, and now he has this all professional microphone that they made for him.
Yeah.
But back then it was all duct taped together, and he'd have all these buttons, and he's doing all the
Nice.
buttons, and
Yeah.
it was pretty primitive back then, but it did the trick.
He can tear it up.
Yeah. So
I like his voice too.
I do too.
Oh
I
my
think it's
God. I
love his
underrated.
voice.
Yeah.
what an amazing
Yep.
voice.
And
Okay.
I think as a lyricist too, he's underrated. He's
Okay.
a great lyricist.
I agree.
Look.
Lots of good stuff.
Yep.
I'll tell you this. We've talked before about nonsensical lyrics, and and there's a place for it. But I've said before, just tell me something. I
Yep.
don't have to agree with you,
Yep.
but just tell me something. These guys, and I know he's their main lyricist, always has something to say.
Yep.
It's always there's depth. Even when he's saying dropping
Yeah.
some NYC,
Yeah.
there's depth there.
And they're sometimes they're funny, but they're like kind of like sarcastic. Like I'm really saying something I mean, but I'm doing it in a
Right.
funny way, kind of.
So that which gets us to Hook, what you were saying. So this could be also used for politics or
Yep.
anything
Oh,
else.
yeah.
But this is one of the things I say this to this day. Almost 30 years later, I still say something. Every now and then somebody will ask me something because both of you know me. I'm a bit of a BSer sometimes, and I'll say it doesn't matter what I say as long as I say it
Yep.
with inflection. And the people who don't know Blues Traveler, they always look at me like, "Huh?" I go, "I just dropped something heavy on you." But what I love about it is it doesn't matter what I say so long as I sing with inflection. That makes you feel I'll convey some inner truth or reflection. But I've said nothing so far. Okay? And I can keep it up as long as it takes.
And this is what you were talking about when the record companies getting on them to be more commercial.
Yeah.
They laid it out
Yep.
in that song.
Yep, definitely.
A lot of the songs out there are just nothing.
Right. And that's what he's getting. Like you're
Yep.
saying, now that you told me that, if he's
It's kind of an FU to the
oh
record
my, and
company.
it's beautiful. It is so well
Have to bleep
done.
that.
It is so well done. Think about it, because then he's saying there's something amiss.
Yep.
But I'm being insincere, right? In fact, I don't mean any of this, right? But still, my confession draws you near.
Yep.
He was these,
He's toying with them.
but it's brilliant. These lyrics
Absolutely.
are
Yep.
brilliant.
Yep.
And that's this whole album, song after song. The lyrics have, like you said, have depth to
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
And I like reading the lyrics. I liked hearing how they're put together in the song.
Yeah,
And these guys did it right. The one, Stand,
yeah,
was written after he had had a motorcycle accident, and he was recuperating. And that song is awesome.
yeah,
But it's not just about his journey to get back to walking and standing and that kind of stuff. But that can apply to so many
Oh, yeah.
situations
Yeah.
in
Yep.
life generally
yeah.
that anybody can listen to that song and come to love it.
Yeah, and that was cool too. When he had the motorcycle accident, he was like Dave Grohl. They bring him out in this chair.
Really?
And he had this huge like throne thing, and he would just sit there and just play and sing in this chair.
Awesome. Well, I've seen pictures of that, but I didn't understand the context. So, and that's the power of a wonderful lyric. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the lyrics are so general, you read your own, but these are very specific yet universal.
Yep, exactly.
So, like, one of my favorite songs is The Mountains Win Again.
Me too.
Yep.
So, to me, now, and I'll say this, and you'll probably never hear me say it again. We've talked about it a couple times, there was the perfect song.
Yeah.
Okay? But it's rare. It's really rare to have a perfect song where you're talking lyrics, singing, instrumental, solo, everything. I would go as far as to say that there's not just one perfect song on this album. There's many.
Yep.
Many perfect songs. And I think The Mountains Win Again is one of them. Lyrically, when he says, I pick up my smile and put it in my pocket, hold it for a while and try not to drop it off, or drop it. But here's the thing. When he's singing that, his inflection on all that, and then, just all this when he pulls you in and you go, man, he's feeling something here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm feeling something too. Is it okay for a man to feel this way? He's like, at the end of the day, yeah, it's okay for a man to feel this way. But this song, his singing to me was just amazing. It fit the song. The music fit the song. The solo fit the song. The way he played his harmonica, and when I was listening to this on the way over here, I had an insight. If you listen to his vibrato in his voice when he sings, it mirrors how he plays the harmonica. Oh, it definitely does.
Yep.
I found that amazing. How many instrumentalists do you know of that when they sing, and then when they play their instrument, you go, that's very vocal, and it's like his vocal. It's rare.
I saw a video of a harmonica professional analyzing his playing.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
And the guy was cracking up the whole time because he said, I can't play as well as he can, but here's what he's doing. I figured out what he's doing, and it was incredible to watch this guy get so excited about John Popper's playing.
Yeah.
Another thing about that song, we often talk about valleys and mountains in our lives.
Yeah.
And how many times do the mountains win again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I thought, wow, that's he's going through life, and there's another knockdown.
It's profound.
Yep.
But see, in this song too. So since we're on it, right? The mountains are going to win. The mountains are always going to be here. Yep. So basically, and in Blues Traveler, there's a song in there where basically 100 years.
Oh yeah.
It won't matter in 100 years.
Yep.
It's not going to matter.
Yep.
So let's live in the moment, which that's what Jesus tells us to do. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about tomorrow. Live in the moment. Find joy. So what he's saying, don't let the mountains are going to win.
Yep.
but let's find that joy, because right here he even overkills. He goes, this time in my life I was hurt enough to care. That's powerful. Yep. Mm-hmm. Right? And then, but by the end of the song, he goes, a pocket is no place for a smile anyway.
Yep. Right, he comes back around.
This is a perfect song, lyrically, vocally, instrumentally. It's perfect.
All right, and I can't share with you exactly how I scored this album altogether
because you don't even know.
I will say that this song, "The Mountains Win Again," got a plus 200 points, mainly because Warren Haynes was playing on it.
What?
You didn't know that?
I really?
Yes,
Are you sure about that?
I am.
Because he played on Mountain Cry, which is on another album too. That was on.
Maybe I'm not sure about that, but I'll tell you this: they got 200 extra points because I thought.
Well, I'm not going to complain if I gave him points.
All right, that's your homework for this week.
All right, so just so we know, we all love Warren Haynes.
Hey, yes.
We're Warren Haynes fans. All right,
and if he's even associated with the guys, they get 200 extra
Government
points.
Mule used to be on the Horde tour. The Allman Brother, when they played on there, I've seen Popper play with the Allman Brothers a bunch of times too on there. That was.
Well, let's go back for a minute because you seem to know a lot about them. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if either one of you guys knew who they were.
Who,
or
Blues
not.
Traveler?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, about their humble beginnings, do you know tell us a little bit about where they started.
the
Well,
challenge.
they started in New York City.
New York.
And they played, I believe it was Nightingales, I believe it was called. And that was like their home bar, and they kind of started playing there.
Before that, there were 3 of them in school together.
Oh, yes. Yep.
And when they started playing, they were playing every nut and bolt
Yep.
bar that they could get dinner for what they
Yep.
for playing for the night, and they weren't making any money. But when they finally stumbled on the Nightingale, that was a bar that really didn't. They weren't isolated into what genre
Yep.
was played there. So they got to rub elbows with people of a lot of different kinds of music,
Yep.
but they stuck there. So go ahead.
Yep. And then from there, they just got together. That's how that whole New York City connection with the Spin Doctors, that's how they became popular or got together. And then those 2 bands, when they were kind of, I guess, trying to grow and all that, that's when they decided, hey, let's get this festival going, get our buddies together, and let's see what happens. And then the Horde Tour really brought them, I think, up to popularity. That's when their live shows really started coming on. And then with Big Head Todd, we'll have to do them too.
Yeah, look, his
One of-
voice, what a great voice.
He is one of the best guitar players live I have ever
Really?
seen in my entire
Never
life.
seen him live.
Like, you wouldn't think the way their music is when you listen to their albums, you don't really think of that. But when that dude plays live, he did the slickest. You know when you see those breaking string videos where they're slick? This dude was shredding the hell out of that guitar. And I don't want to say shredding because he's not a shredder, but he was ripping on it, popped a string, kept going. This dude shows up from over to the side, kind of hands him, and I swear he maybe missed 2 beats and he was back playing again. That was the coolest thing ever. But so then they just got on the Horde Tour, and I think that's what really helped them go.
They met somebody and it may have been there, but whose father, I think that's the way it goes. His father was a producer.
Oh,
and he ended up producing them, and they went from working for lunch or dinner to getting
beer money,
$250 a night, you know. And so then at some point, I think it was when the song "Run Around" and "Hook" may have been after this album, they were millionaires.
Yep. And one thing too that this always Blues Traveler reminds me of, we were in college, and there's a lot of people from Long Island there and New York City, and this one dude 3 doors down from me, he would play that Blues Trap literally CD just repeatedly. My roommate was like, he goes, if I hear that effing harmonica one more time, I'm gonna go beat the shit out of that kid. But I literally, as soon as he got back from class, he had Blues Traveler on. It'd play the whole time. The only time he was not playing it is when he was not in that room. And
hey, if it gets in you, it's in you, you know.
And one thing too that, you know, we have a video coming out about Nirvana, you know, and something that was going along at that same time was there was this jam band thing going on at that very same time, like that 91 time period. There's all this, and then again you had Widespread Panic, and with those bands, I personally think that helped revive the Allman Brothers too. It gave them that whole new crowd. They came out, you know, with the Horde Tour, got those younger people. They had Warren Haynes in the band who just brought them to a different level. I was never really a Dickie Betts fan, to be honest with you. But then when it was Derek Trucks and Warren Haynes were in the Allman Brothers.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know what to say. I'm almost going to cry thinking about that band. They're amazing.
It's the band that will be playing in heaven.
But I think, like, getting back to Blues Traveler and the Horde, I think that helped them go to a different level and just had that, like, a revival, in my opinion. Because not that they were dead, but, you know, nobody really paid attention.
Well, let me ask you a question about something
really
totally unrelated then. Sister Hazel, we talked about a little bit earlier. Were they going at that same time?
They were during that same period.
Because they really reminded me a lot of this. So,
Yeah,
and that's interesting
90s
because
time period,
at that point in history, you had the grunge movement going on, and then this was a totally different thing.
Yep. Oh, and Fish too. They were a big one back then.
But you
that
liked
got
them
going.
both.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's because we have broad tastes.
Yep.
I'm starting to realize more all the time. No joke, really.
Variety is the spice of
Yep.
life. There's sometimes, man, I just want to kick a chihuahua, and there's other times I just want to chill, right?
Yeah.
So, getting to the fact of, their struggles and rise, that's where you think he's pulling from some of these lyrics. Like, one of my favorite lyrics is when he says, I hope you cannot stop at hoping. I hope for you and cannot stop for hoping until that smile has once again returned to your face. There's no such thing as failure. Who keeps trying? Coasting to the bottom is the only disgrace.
Yeah. Is that Just Wait?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful. Sometimes I can't get through that.
Oh yeah. Well, I was.
That's heart wrenching.
If I was to, I'm gonna be. When I came here today, I was telling Bob a few minutes ago. I'm in a weird place. I'm dealing with something, and I was listening to this song on the way over here, and I had to pull over down here at the softball field.
That hits
It
you
was
hard.
this song. I had to pull over, and I was listening to it, and I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to do this show today. I'm not, because I'm not in my headspace.
Yep.
But coming here and talking to you guys beforehand, and there's a lot of stuff we always do beforehand where we're goofing off, we're having a good time. So that put me in the right space. But had I not had that moment with you guys, I would not have been able to read that lyric without getting teary.
Oh, it's hard, yeah.
But the way he sings it too was you just like,
oh, it's hard.
oh my gosh.
Well, you can feel emotion from a lot of these songs, whether or not the lyrics coincide with what you're going through or not.
Yep.
Because, like, look around. I mean, I loved it. And I don't even remember. What did it say? What was it talking about? It had a beautiful intro with a B3 organ. That's why I loved it. Okay.
B3 sucker.
All day long, man.
And a great,
I'm going to write like the shittiest song and I'll put a B3 in there and Bob will go, that's the best song I've ever heard.
You know what? It'll work. I guarantee it'll work.
You win me over real easy. There was a great lead guitar break in that song, too. Man,
Which
I
one?
loved it. Look around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Price to Pay, I love that
Yeah.
that story is great with the heartbreaking girl.
All right, I was just getting ready to
And what a great, it's just like a story. I love the story of it.
So by the time I get to 4, I've been a fan for a while, right? So 4 comes out, and I'm like, it's slightly different flavor, but man, still good stuff, right? Yep. And I'm like, oh my God, man, he's ripping my heart out. He's making me want to do this. And then this song comes on, I'm like, she went to bed with a clown?
Well, he was a juggler with a rubber nose.
And you know what the shit of it is? He had more than one girlfriend.
Right. So on the way over here, I'm listening to this song.
I guess I should have learned how to juggle when I was younger.
Hey, I can juggle. Give me something.
Kleenexes right there. Get 3 of them.
So anyway, on the way over here,
If he can do that, I'm paying.
So I pull off, and I had my moment listening to the other song we were just talking about, and I thought I need to listen to something upbeat. I put this one on, and I'm driving over here, and when it comes to the part where he says she wound up in bed and
fell madly in love
with some rubber-nosed juggling clown. You know what that hit me? I got so tickled after that. Heather could probably say the same thing about me. She's like, how did I end up with this?
I was wondering where he was going with that. I was hoping it went the other way.
I know.
No, I've never been in bed with a clown, but can't say that for Heather. I know she looks at me sometimes. I married you. Did I marry you? How did this happen?
What else we got with this one? Because
I'll bring up Crash Burn is probably the best 3-minute song I have ever heard in my entire life.
I was telling
there
Andrew.
is so much going on in that song that's just, man.
I was listening to the song, and I put a cooker. Instrumental.
Absolutely.
Now, I told him something happened at the point where I picked up listening to this, and I thought the whole song, all but one line, was instrumental. So I missed the front of it, but
I
picked
love
it
that
up later.
Crash Burn, When Will I Learn?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean,
And I like the line in there too. He says, "I'm gonna watch you fall like a tower of cards."
Yeah. Yeah, look,
Beauty.
again, this guy had stuff to say.
Yep.
He had stuff to say, and he wrote it so well.
Oh yeah.
He
Yep.
did, and a lot of times he collaborated with the guitar player.
Yeah. The
Or
bass player. The
the
bass
bass
player
player.
did a lot too.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
rest his soul.
Shame what happened to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would collaborate on songs. There were a lot of these that were with the bass player,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
but
and,
also the guitar
something with
player.
this band too. They kind of taught me how to play the guitar, like their older albums, and this album really taught me chords and all that kind of stuff. And when I was listening to it again for this show, you know, as a bass player, I'm like, these songs are a lot easier as a guitar player than a bass player.
Okay, that bass player,
He
was
had some
smart.
running lines, man. And I
Yeah.
remember him. He would just he'd stand there. He'd light up a cigarette and it'd hang out, and he'd just all you see is his fingers the whole
And
time.
you watch his hand, and he's not doing anything.
Yep.
And it's
I don't
like,
even think he broke a sweat, but
how
he's
does
just,
he get all of that out of just with
Yep,
no
it's-
effort?
Oh, it's amazing.
Musicianship.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's always watching too.
Yeah.
Like that was his thing.
Yeah.
He's always watching and feeling what's going on. And
I love watching musicians when they're vibing and
Yep.
listening to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, and to kind of bring back an old episode too, Tragically Hip. We did Tragically Hip. Watch that one too. All our Canadian friends.
Yep.
But
We love you, all five of you.
one thing that was cool about the Horde tours, you never really knew who was on there. So we're sitting in the parking lot reading books before the show, you know, because we like to read books.
Yes. Reader.
Now we weren't really reading books. We
I
were
know.
getting hammered.
I know what you're saying.
He just knew you liked books.
So we're out there getting hammered, and I hear some kid walk by, and he goes, "The Tragically Hip is playing." I go, "Get over here!" I go, "You get over here!" I go, "What'd you just say?" It was like in Willy Wonka when they heard about the
golden ticket.
golden ticket, and the guy asked him to come. I go, "Get over here!" I go, "Did you say Tragically Hip?" He goes, "Yeah, they're gonna be on here." I'm like, "That's a bunch of horse crap." Then he goes, "No, I swear." And we go in there. They were playing. I ran right up to the pit, watched him. And as I'm walking back, I saw Brendan Hill, the drummer, was watching Tragically Hip. Just sitting in the stands like
They're just
watching
normal
him.
people.
And I walked by him. I was like, "Hey, man." I was like, "Have a great show."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Thanks, man."
Yeah.
But that was my little interaction with Brandon Hill, who I think is an underrated drummer.
He was
I'm-
rock solid.
Like you're a B3 a guy. When I hear little hi-hat tricks and stuff, that I'm a sucker for that. And he
Yeah.
is so clean on the hi-hat and does these little hi-hat fills.
Well, and talk about clean. Overall, their guitar tone, very clean.
Oh
guitar
yeah,
tone.
very yep.
Yeah, and so when it does get dirty, it's like nasty.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yep.
very clean rhythm guitar through
Yep.
almost all these
I
songs.
saw they were doing, and I can't remember what thing it was, but it was an outdoor stage. They were outside and they were playing. I don't even remember the song, but the lead guitar player was playing an acoustic guitar, and the bass player was playing an acoustic electric bass, and it was time for the guitar break in the song, and you see this grin come over his face, and he's playing the acoustic, and he's screwing up, you know, he's muffling strings and everything, and he's just got this grin on his face like, I hope I get through this, and he did, but it was priceless. I mean, that was. I love seeing that kind of stuff because they're just people
They
with
go for it.
a
Yep.
huge
Yep.
talent.
Yeah.
And when they mess up, no big deal. Just
Right.
keep moving.
Well, I would challenge you. I mean, it's pretty clear that you are now a Blues Traveler fan.
I've got a score for them.
Yeah, I would challenge you to Blues Traveler, their Out 1990 album, okay? And another one of my favorite was Straight On Till Morning.
That's a good one too.
Good one
Yep.
too. I sang.
Yep.
I used to put that on, and I would sing. It would stay. The whole CD
Yep.
would get played as I was traveling and sing every word. Yeah. So all right.
All right, I think we're ready for your scoring here.
Okay, let me explain to you exactly how my scoring system works.
I'm gonna need a drink.
You'll have to watch the next episode
To see how that scoring goes,
yeah,
it'll
because-
change on that one.
Yeah, the next album we're gonna do is Fashion Nugget by Cake, and they actually lay out my scoring system in one of the songs in that.
Oh,
So these guys will finally get to see exactly how
Wow.
I calculate.
I can't wait.
So, but anyway, back to one thing before we wrap it up. Hook.
Yes.
If you listen to the chord progression, did you recognize what the chord progression was? I keep saying horde progression. Now you're at the Horde Festival.
No.
You didn't recognize it.
No.
It's canon in D.
I'm gonna have to listen to it again.
Well, listen to it because
Dude.
that's what it is, and all of you listen to it too.
So in Andy's band, Grace Asylum, I was in that band for a while, and they did a rock version of Canon in D.
That's
And
what it
I'm
is.
surprised I didn't catch it because we literally played that song
you're
100
probably playing it
times.
wrong.
I kept thinking, I recognize this, but I don't think I've ever heard. I recognize it, and also Hook was as close as I can get to rap.
Yes, but it was good. It was so
It was
good.
He does
awesome.
a lot of little things
Yes,
like that.
And when you read the lyrics and see that there's 148,000 words in those two lines,
And it's so flitty and flighty, and you're just like, yeah, it takes you somewhere.
and I thought they had done something mechanically with the
oh
equipment.
no, he does it live too.
He can do all that
Yeah.
and play the harmonica.
He
at
does
the
a
same
lot of
time.
scatting too.
Yeah,
in their
look.
live stuff.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
He's great at it.
So when I go back and I listen to this to see if it is in Canon in D, if I can give you a little background, Marilyn, his beautiful, lovely, talented wife, accuses him of thinking a lot of songs are Canon in D. We literally had that
I
conversation
think
about it.
Well,
my wife
yeah.
cracks up because there's been a couple bands that you said sound like Molly. Is it Molly Hatchet?
No, it was.
other band?
It wasn't Molly Hatchet. It was.
Who, me?
Marshall Tucker.
Marshall Tucker, yes.
That does not sound like Marshall Tucker.
Well, that's what I thought about these guys. They sound a lot like Marshall Tucker
He
band.
said the Pepto Bismol commercial sounded like Canon in D, so I know that's not right.
A girl sent me well, no, she didn't send it to me. She left a message on my answering machine.
Which
one
wife
time.
was this?
I'm not going to go into it. But anyway, back to the scoring system. Out of 300,
Now I want to know what the
No.
what the answer machine said.
you may find out someday
You have to do
in
a
some
short.
episode.
You have to do a short for
Maybe
us
the
on it.
next episode.
Okay.
But out of a total of 3,776 points,
Gosh.
they actually
Nirvana only had 100 points, and this one has 3,000.
that was a little different system.
Oh, okay. That was the European.
It was a
system.
different calculation for that
That was the
particular.
Scandinavian version.
But because Warren Haynes was perceived to be on this album, and he may or may not have been, it adds 200, so it's 3,976 points.
Wow.
Well,
Out
I'll
of how
tell you.
many?
I was impressed. Out of 3776, they got 3976.
You know what? Even though it's this crazy BS system of his, I'm glad he gave him such a high
I know I
score.
am too. I'm very happy with that.
Yes, I'm good with that.
Well,
Welcome, Bob.
okay. Are we going to go right into our 3 questions?
If you want to. It's your
Okay. Would you listen to this
Yes.
on a regular basis?
I
Yes.
do. I do. I literally do.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I will too.
good.
Good.
So that's 3 of us. There.
We have
That's
brought
my
him
question.
so
I know,
far.
man.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that one day.
All right.
Seriously.
So, you want the next question? You want
Yep.
me?
I'm going to stay with my usual. Should this be taught in schools?
Resounding.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah. This literally would be
Yeah.
one of the bands. This particular album, even, with so much artistry in
Yeah.
this. Yes.
I agree.
Yep. The writing,
Everything.
the music,
Yep.
the whole package.
Yeah, and again, I'll say it, and I'll die on this hill because you'll probably never hear me say it again. Maybe on a song or two, but this album has at least 5 perfect songs.
Yep. I agree.
Perfect.
Yep.
And so my question, I've got a new one this week.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go. Taylor Swift involved?
Nope, no Taylor Swift in this.
okay.
Okay. So Bob, I'm going to direct it.
Why have I gotta
more to
start
you,
first?
Just because of the jokes, the already gag that
Okay.
we have running about you.
Okay.
In your next wedding,
Ah,
would you
Ain't happening.
would you hire these as the wedding? These guys as the wedding
ain't
band?
happening. Ain't happening. I'll hire them for my
There you-
50th
I was
wedding
I
anniversary.
thought you were going to
I
say I'll
like
hire
that.
him for my funeral.
Okay.
No.
And again, the only look, If you,
They can do a good job.
I'll tell you this: if you and Marilyn ever get weird, I'm going to force you guys to stay together because I love you.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I just did that because of the running gag we have with
No,
you. Okay.
that's okay, and I understand. But it would be
How
our
about
50th
when you
wedding
renew
anniversary.
your vows?
Oh, see, that's what I meant the whole time.
Well, yeah, there you go.
I don't know why you thought I was talking about you guys splitting up. Gosh, Bob.
No.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Hey, she liked this. She listened to it with me.
Excellent.
Well, I'll tell you this: Marilyn's always had good taste in music.
And
Her
man,
taste in men has been questionable, but
All right.
are we done?
I think we're done.
All right.
All right,
Send us
kids.
off.
As always, like, subscribe. We get 100 subscribers. You can tell us what Taylor Swift album to listen to.
Oh yes!
that?
Oh my gosh!
We got 30 now. We need 70 more, and I will. I promise I will listen to every note. As much as it pains
come
me
on.
to say that.
Subscribe.
and if you agree or disagree with anything that we've said, say it.
Please do.
Yeah.
Because you may know more than we do.
Probably
Which
not.
is probably more than likely.
I mean, between the three of us, we got what, 3/4 of a brain?
If that.
But we have fun with that 3/4
We do.
of a brain.
As always, stay uncool, like what you like. Deuces.